Two significant developments tonight involving the security of Europe. First, on Ukraine, there's been a declaration of intent from the leaders of the UK and France that would pave the way for British and French troops to be deployed if a peace deal is reached with Russia. The aim to deter a future attack. Now, it came at a meeting in Paris of European leaders, members of the so-called Coalition of the Willing, hoping to agree security guarantees for Kiev. President Zelensky described it as a huge step forward, and Steve Witkoff, the US envoy, said it marked a big milestone. But the other key issue for European leaders at their summit was how best to handle Donald Trump's increasingly tough rhetoric over the future of Greenland, a semi-autonomous region of Denmark. Tonight, the White House said utilizing the US military in furtherance of the goal of acquiring the territory is always an option. Bravado or a genuine threat? Might the US military attempt to seize by force land belonging to a fellow NATO country? Well, more on that in a moment from Sarah Smith at the White House and Katya Adler, who'll be live in Paris. And we'll have analysis from Chris Mason here in the studio. But first, James Waterhouse has our top story tonight from the European Summit.
As their name suggests, this mostly European coalition has always said it's willing to help Ukraine after the fighting stops, but never how.
We are on the verge of a global standoff that could rewrite the map of the world forever. The United States is moving to take control of Greenland, and Denmark just issued a warning that this could mean the end of NATO as we know it. This is not a drill. This is not a joke. This is a massive shift in American power that is happening right now before our eyes. Before we get into how this explosive situation just reached a breaking point, hit that subscribe button for the American Audit. You need to stay informed because the media isn't telling you the full story. What just happened is something nobody expected to see so fast. Right after the major operations in Venezuela, President Trump has shifted his focus to the frozen north. He has officially declared that the United States must have Greenland. He isn't calling it a real estate deal anymore. He is calling it a national security necessity. The White House is saying that if we don't control that land, our enemies will. They're looking at the massive piles of rare earth minerals hidden under the ice. These are the same minerals used in your phones, your cars, and our most advanced military weapons. Right now, China has a stranglehold on those resources. The president's plan is simple. Take Greenland to break China's monopoly and secure the American future. But there is one big problem. Denmark, the country that currently holds Greenland, just slammed the door in our face. They are saying Greenland is not for sale, and they are calling our moves a direct threat to their sovereignty. This is serious because it puts us in a position we haven't been in since the Cold War. We are now in a direct diplomatic battle with one of our oldest and closest allies. Denmark's prime minister was very clear. She said that the idea of the US taking over her territory makes no sense and must stop immediately. But the pressure from Washington is not letting up. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is already moving pieces on the board to make this happen. This isn't just about land. It's about the fact that the rules of the world are changing. For decades, borders in Europe were considered permanent. Now, the US is saying that our need for resources and defense comes before those old agreements. Americans need to understand that we are being told this is for our safety. But it is also putting us on a path where we might stand alone. We deserve a world where our leaders can secure our future without breaking the alliances that have kept the peace for 80 years. The reactions are reaching a boiling point. In the halls of Congress, some are calling this a genius move. They say it is Arctic manifest destiny. They believe that if we don't act now, China or Russia will eventually step in and take that territory for themselves. They see a future where America is the undisputed king of the Arctic. But on the other side, foreign policy experts are terrified. They are warning that if we push Denmark too hard, the NATO alliance will collapse. This is the group of countries that stands together against global threats. If that falls apart, the world becomes a much more dangerous place. On social media, the debate is everywhere. You see people making memes about presidential glaciers, but you also see people who are genuinely scared that this is the start of a new kind of conflict. Lawmakers in Greenland itself are furious. They are saying they are a people, not a product, to be bought and sold. They are demanding respect. But Washington is looking at the minerals, not the protesters. What could happen next is the big question hanging over everyone's head. This standoff isn't going away. We could see the US start to place more military assets near the island to show we are serious. We might see economic pressure put on Denmark to force them to the table. Some people are even whispering about what happens if Denmark looks to the European Union for protection against us. The stakes are incredibly high. If we get Greenland, we control the resources of the future. If we fail, we might lose our best friends on the global stage and leave ourselves open to a Chinese countermove. This is a high-stakes game of chess where the board is made of ice, and the clock is ticking. The world is watching as the United States and Denmark lock horns over a piece of land that most people used to ignore. But this isn't just about a cold island. This is about the new North and who gets to own the 21st century. The tension is so thick you can cut it with a knife. While the US argues that this is about defense, the rest of the world is starting to see it as a power grab. The Danish government has gone from being confused to being completely outraged. They have started to rally other European leaders to their side. We are seeing a massive divide forming between the old world of Europe and the new direction of American policy. This is a moment where the America First strategy is being tested like never before. If we can't convince our allies that this is the right move, we might find ourselves isolated at a time when we need friends. And the reason this has escalated so quickly is the sheer value of what lies beneath the Greenland ice. We are talking about trillions of dollars in minerals that are essential for everything from green energy to high-tech, missiles. For years, we let China buy up these mines all over the world. Now, the US government has decided that the only way to catch up is to take the biggest prize on the map. This is why the president is calling it a national security necessity. He is telling the American people that if we want to stay the #1 superpower, we cannot let China control the building blocks of technology. But we have to ask ourselves, at what cost is the mineral wealth of Greenland worth the total destruction of our relationship with Europe? Many Americans feel like we have been taken advantage of by our allies for years, and they see this as a way to finally get what we are owed. Others see it as a dangerous overreach that makes us look like the very enemies we are trying to fight. The escalation isn't just happening in offices. It's happening on the water and in the air. There are reports of increased patrols and a sudden focus on Arctic training. The Greenlandic people are caught in the middle. They have their own parliament and their own dreams of independence. Now, they feel like they are being treated as a prize in a contest between giants. Their leaders have been very vocal, saying they want to decide their own future. But in a world of power politics, the voices of a few thousand people are often drowned out by the needs of a nation of hundreds of millions. This creates a moral crisis for us as Americans. We believe in self-determination, but we also believe in protecting our home. When those two things clash, there are no easy answers. The pressure on the Danish Prime Minister is growing every day. She is being told by her own people to stand firm, but she knows that fighting with the US is a losing game in the long run. Looking forward, we have to prepare for the possibility of a permanent split in the West. If the US continues to demand Greenland as a defense measure, Denmark might be forced to make a choice. Do they give in to their biggest protector, or do they turn away and look for new partners? This could lead to a situation where the US military presence in the region becomes a point of contention rather than a point of security. We could see trade deals fall apart or new taxes put on American goods in Europe. The uncertainty is the only thing we can be sure of right now. The stakes involve the very energy that runs our lives and the weapons that protect our borders. This is a story that is moving faster than the ice is melting. As we watch this unfold, we have to wonder what kind of country we want to be. Are we a nation that takes what it needs to survive, or are we a nation that respects the rights of others? Even when it's hard, the president is betting that the American people want results and resources. He is betting that, in the end, power is the only thing that matters. But history shows that power without friends is a very heavy burden to carry. We are standing at the edge of a new era, and the decisions made in the next few weeks will echo for 100 years. What do you think about this? Is taking Greenland a masterstroke for American security? Or is it a move that will haunt us for generations? Does the need for rare earth minerals justify threatening our allies? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the American Audit so you don't miss the next update on this escalating crisis. The situation is spiraling into a territory we have never seen before. We just learned that the White House is not just talking anymore. They are actively drawing up plans. Reports have surfaced that the administration is looking at every possible way to take control of Greenland, and they are not ruling out the use of the military. This is a massive escalation that has sent a shockwave through the entire world. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt confirmed that the U.S. military is always an option when it comes to national security priorities. This isn't just a tough negotiation over a price tag anymore. This is a direct threat to a sovereign nation and a fellow member of NATO for years. We were told that the Arctic was a place of peace and cooperation. That era is officially dead. The law of force is replacing the law of nations, and the world is holding its breath to see if Washington will actually pull the trigger. Why is this reaching such a fever pitch right now? Is because the administration believes we are in a race for survival. Behind closed doors, officials are pointing to the Golden Dome missile defense system. This is the president's top priority for protecting American cities from nuclear threats. To make this system work perfectly, we need more than just the bases we already have in Greenland. We need total control of the land to place interceptors and advanced radar that can watch the skies over the North Pole. But there's a deeper, more urgent reason. China has been quietly buying its way into Greenland's mining industry for years. They already have a stake in one of the biggest rare earth projects on the island. The White House sees this as a Trojan horse. They believe that if we don't move in now, we will wake up one day and find that China has built a polar Silk Road right in our backyard. They are arguing that it is better to break an alliance today than to lose a war tomorrow. But Americans need to ask, is this really the only way? We already have the Patuxent space base up there. We already have treaties that let us operate. Some experts are saying that this move isn't about security at all. It's about a new kind of Arctic manifest destiny. They argue that the government is using the word defense as a cover for a resource grab that would make the US the only superpower in the high north. But this path comes with a heavy price. Our own Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, is caught in the middle. He's telling lawmakers he prefers a deal, but he's also preparing for a meeting with Danish officials where the vibe will be anything but friendly. We are essentially telling Denmark, sell us your land or we might just take it. This is a language we usually hear from dictators, not from the leaders of the free world. We deserve a strategy that keeps us safe without making us look like the world's biggest bully. The reaction from Europe has been a total rejection. In a move we've rarely seen, the leaders of France, Germany, the UK, and several other major powers have issued a joint statement. They are standing shoulder to shoulder with Denmark. They are saying that Greenland belongs to its people and that any attempt to change that by force would be the end of the Western Alliance. This is the red line that has been drawn in the ice. If the US crosses it, NATO doesn't just bend, it breaks. Critics are warning that this is the greatest risk to the West since the end of World War II. They say we are handing a massive victory to Russia and China by tearing ourselves apart from the inside. Meanwhile, in Greenland, the people are standing firm. They are saying they are not a prize to be won. They are worried about their environment, their fishing, and their way of life. But in this high-stakes game of global chess, the people on the board are often the last ones anyone listens to. As we head Into next week, all eyes are on the meeting between Secretary Rubio and the Danish government. This is the moment where the rubber meets the road. If the US doesn't back down, we could see the first real cracks in the North Atlantic Treaty. Imagine a world where the US and Europe are no longer on the same team. That is the world we are looking at right now. The Danish Prime Minister has already said that if we move on, Greenland, everything will stop. This means intelligence sharing, military cooperation, and trade agreements could all vanish overnight. We are talking about a total reset of the global order. And for what? For minerals that we haven't even started mining yet. The uncertainty is creating a panic in the markets, and it's making our enemies very happy. The tension is also building right here at home. We are seeing a massive split in the American public. There are those who believe the president is a genius for securing the future of our technology. They see the rare earth minerals as the new oil and believe we must have them at any cost. They are tired of China holding all the cards and feel that if we have the power to take what we need, we should use it. But there is a growing number of people who are horrified. They see this as a betrayal of American values. They are asking why we are threatening a peaceful ally like Denmark when we have so many other problems to solve. They worry that this force-first policy will eventually lead to a conflict we can't win. This isn't just a debate about land. It's a debate about the soul of our foreign policy. The stakes could not be higher for the global supply chain. If this standoff turns into a real conflict, the price of everything from your laptop to your electric car is going to skyrocket. China is already tightening its own export controls in response to our moves. They are essentially telling the world, if the US wants to play dirty in Greenland, we will make sure no one gets the minerals they need. We are looking at a potential global tech freeze. This is why the American audit is so important. You need to see how these big political moves affect your daily life and your wallet. The media is focusing on the drama, but the real story is the economic earthquake that is coming if this isn't resolved soon. What happens if Denmark refuses to budge and the US keeps pushing? We could see a gray zone conflict where we use cyber attacks or economic sanctions against our own allies to get what we want. We could see the US Navy starting to block access to Greenland's waters. It sounds crazy, but the White House has already said that military options are on the table. We are moving into a future where the old rules don't apply anymore. The world is watching to see if the US will choose to be a partner or a conqueror. The next few days will tell us everything we need to know about the direction of our country and the fate of the Arctic. This is a turning point in history. We are watching the potential birth of a new American empire and or the total collapse of the system that has kept us safe for 80 years. The president is betting that he can force the world to accept a new reality, but the world is pushing back harder than he expected. We are at a cliffhanger, and the drop is a long one. What do you think? Should the US do whatever it takes to secure Greenland? Or are we going too far? Is the risk of losing NATO worth the reward of the minerals? We shouldn't have to choose between our resources and our friends. The tension is escalating on the ground right now. We are hearing reports of increased military flights and a new focus on Arctic readiness. Denmark has responded by pouring billions into their own northern defenses. Even though they know they can't match American might, this is a tragedy in the making. Two allies who have stood together through world wars and the Cold War are now pointing fingers at each other over a map. The people of Greenland are the ones caught in the crossfire. They are being told their home is a security necessity by one side and a sovereign right by the other. They are watching the giants fight over their future, and they are terrified of what comes next. On social media, the world is divided. Some see a bold new era of American strength, while others see a dangerous path toward global isolation. What could happen next is the most uncertain part of this entire story. We could be days away from a formal offer that Denmark cannot refuse, or we could be at the start of a deep freeze in Western relations that lasts for decades. If the US pushes forward with a military or economic takeover, the rules of international law will be rewritten overnight. We might see a new Arctic bloc form to oppose American influence. We might see China step in to offer Denmark protection. The stakes are not just about land, they are about the very idea of how nations treat each other. This is a story that doesn't have an ending yet, and we are the ones who will have to live with the consequences of whatever happens next. This is the moment where history is made. We are watching a world leader try to change the map by sheer force of will. Whether you think this is a brilliant move for our security or a disastrous mistake for our reputation, one thing is clear. The world will never be the same after this. The clock is ticking toward a moment that could change the face of the earth. We are seeing a standoff that has gone beyond words and into the realm of action. The White House has just appointed a special envoy to handle the Greenland situation. And they aren't sending a diplomat, they are sending people who know how to get things done. While Denmark says Greenland is not for sale, the US is already talking to mining companies about billions of dollars in investments. We are seeing a move to bypass the Danish government entirely and deal directly with the land itself. This is a high-stakes gamble that assumes everyone has a price, but if the Danish Prime Minister is right, and this move ends the NATO alliance, we are looking at a world where America stands completely alone against Russia and China. This is the ultimate America First test. The reason this is reaching a breaking point is simple. The ice is melting and the minerals are waiting. The US government believes that whoever controls Greenland controls the technology of the next century. They are looking at the massive deposits of lithium, cobalt, and rare earth elements that power everything from your smartphone to the missiles that protect our shores. Right now, we are dependent on China for these things, and the administration is saying never again. They argue that we cannot be a superpower if our enemies hold the keys to our factories. But we have to wonder if the price of independence is too high. If we burn our bridges with Europe to secure these mines, who will stand with us when the next global crisis hits? We deserve a future that is both secure and honorable. We are entering a new age of power politics where the old rules are being thrown out the window. This is the American Audit, and we are going to keep following every move in this frozen chess game. What do you think is the real goal here? Is it truly about defense, or is it about owning the future? Can an alliance survive this kind of pressure? Leave your comments below. I want to know where you stand on Arctic Manifest, Destiny. Don't forget to like this video, share it to spread the word, and subscribe so you're the first to know when the next update drops. The world is changing fast, and you can't afford to look away.